It's been a few weeks since my last relationship ended, and I've been in the thick of healing. Not the kind that looks like dancing at the club with my girlfriends or skinny dipping in the ocean at midnight to a coming-of-age soundtrack. Not even the kind that looks like crying in bed with a tower of tissues and half-eaten takeout containers on the floor. This has been soul-reckoning shit. The kind where I'm forced to look at my attachment patterns dead in the eye and ask myself, how did I end up here again? I say again because this isn't new. The post-breakup grief, the mental looping, the urge to decode everything that went wrong, even though I'm the one who walked away, even though I knew it wasn't right for me. I keep thinking about that one lyric from Taylor Swift's The Prophecy. Hand on the throttle, thought I caught lightning in a bottle. Oh, but it's gone again. It's gone again. And that's what's bothering me. Like, it felt real and still didn't last. That I was so sure and still somehow so wrong. I keep wondering why my nervous system still feels tethered to something I've already outgrown. It feels like I'm detoxing from the potential of what could have been and not the reality of what actually was. Intuition versus illusion, maybe? Or maybe just a hard truth I wasn't ready to sit with. See, this is the part of breakups I don't really hear much about. Not in the media, not in music, not even from friends. Most of the time it gets packed into punchy little tips. Cut your hair, go out, make out with a stranger, block his number, buy a new pair of shoes, get bangs, burn some sage, take a dance class, move on, queen. And sure, some of that helps. I've been going to the gym, eating well, listening to empowering Spotify playlists, focusing on my career, seeing friends, making art. I've been doing the whole she's leveling up routine, but it doesn't erase everything I'm still carrying. You can't slap a sparkly band-aid on a wound the size of a grapefruit and call it healed. Healing takes more than aesthetics and endorphins, unfortunately. The thing is, what I've been feeling is much more complex than simply just sadness or anger. It's emotions that move in waves, sneak into my dreams, bleed into the most random parts of my day, and trying to logic my way out of it never works. There's no off switch when something actually meant something to you, as much as I would love to install one in my brain. What's most frustrating is not even feeling resentment, knowing I could rewrite the whole relationship and cast the person as the villain, but choosing not to. That's what my ego wants. And sure, that would be easier, but it wouldn't be honest. And even though I still carry disappointment and pain, I'm self-aware enough to see it for what it really was. This whole experience has shined a bright spotlight on the fact that healing doesn't respond well to shortcuts. It wants honesty, curiosity, patience. And sometimes the hardest thing to do is to feel everything without trying to clean it up into a neat little story about who was right and who was wrong. So I started asking myself some real questions. Not in some cute journal prompt kind of way, but in a full-blown let's dive into your shit and actually sit with it kind of way, even though it's uncomfortable as fuck. And I'd like to share them. So if you're also grappling with the end of something you know wasn't right but still somehow feel tied to, these questions are also for you. Number 1. Did I actually fall for the person in front of me or for a version of them I built in my mind? This one is interesting because we can't help who we fall for. And as my best friend once told me, we only ever know what we know. So if someone invites intimacy, says they want commitment, makes you feel safe or seen, of course you're going to believe them. Don't gaslight yourself into thinking you were naive. But it's still worth asking yourself, did their words match their actions in 3D? Or were you holding on to the version of who they could be eventually? Number 2. Do I really miss them, or do I miss the potential I saw? When I sat with this question, I realized both can be true. You can genuinely miss someone's presence, the synchronicities, the way they laughed, their quirks, their energy, but sometimes what we're really clinging to isn't the person as they were actively in the relationship. It's the future we imagined with them, the version of the relationship we hoped might unfold. Maybe they made you feel something you hadn't before, and that sparked a kind of hope that's hard to let go of. Good memories can still live on even after something breaks. 3. Do I still feel connected because I'm in love or because I want closure? Here's what I know about my situation. I wasn't in love, but I felt like it could have been the beginning of it because the connection was that strong. I won't discredit that truth. But now that it's over, the way it ended, unresolved, one-sided, messy, has made it harder to let go. Not because I want it back, but because my ego still craves justice, validation, balance, and I've realized that's what's been keeping me energetically tethered. 4. Am I grieving them, or am I grieving the part of me that believed they were the one? This was a gut punch. The truth is, I don't even know the real version of the person I was with, not fully. I only saw what they wanted me to see. And what I'm grieving isn't just that, it's the time, the energy, the hope I poured into the connection, believing that maybe this time it would be different, and sitting with the hard truth that, although it felt promising, it wasn't. And 5. If they reached out, would that actually make me feel good, or would it just momentarily soothe the part of me that still feels rejected or unseen? This one is big. Is your soul actually yearning for a reunion that would feel good and expansive and aligned with where you're at right now? Or are you just craving clarity or something to stroke a bruised ego? And if it's clarity you want, ask yourself why you think that can only come from them. Because if you can give that clarity to yourself, that's where your power lives. These aren't easy questions to answer at all, but they've helped me stop spinning. They've brought me back to myself, because the more I untangle it, the more I see that what I've been carrying isn't just about them. It's about the illusion, the imagined future, the version of the relationship that only ever existed as potential, even if that potential felt blindingly bright at the time. That kind of disconnect is destabilizing to your nervous system. It leaves residue. It messes with your sense of reality, and if you've ever believed in someone with your whole heart, only to realize they weren't actually able to meet you there, then you know what I'm talking about. The dissonance is incredibly dizzying. But here's the thing. There's no power in abandoning or erasing an experience just to protect your ego. There is no power in pretending it didn't matter. If it mattered to you, it mattered. If it was real to you, it was real. And that's where you set yourself free. When you stop chasing, decoding, or rejecting the truth that someone can hurt you and still have brought you joy. That they can fall short of what you need and still have given you something meaningful. And maybe above all else, this has taught me something about discernment. Not the kind that builds walls or shuts people out or burns bridges, but the kind that honors truth. I've learned that discernment isn't the absence of emotion, it's what happens when you feel deeply and still choose what's aligned. It's understanding that love or connection isn't always enough if it comes at the expense of your peace. It's realizing you can care about someone and still protect your energy. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away, not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Maybe that's why this happened again. Maybe I still needed to learn something. Not to bypass the pain, but to understand it, to embrace it, so I can finally put it down and make room for something new, something built to last. Thank you.